Okay, I got an affirmation that I'd like to start out with today. This is 2012. I can't think of nothing to rhyme with. Try to rhyme 12 and see what you come up with. It's hard. Maybe we're not supposed to define it.
How about salt?
Yeah.
Delvin.
Take a breath. And I got an affirmation of truth that's very holy that I would love for those who feel like saying it yourself. Okay? And let me say it a few times. I am perfectly holy and perfectly hot.
I am perfectly holy and perfectly hot.
I am perfectly
holy and perfectly hot.
I am perfectly holy and perfectly hot. And take a breath.
Yeah.
That's a test right there, I'm telling you. Some of y'all probably feel more strained than you can imagine right now. Saying that.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to acknowledge that we are not alone in 2012. This is New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to look around the room at the other aspects of the one self that we are. And we're going to do something like this. And I'll demonstrate it first. Y'all look at me. You are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. 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 Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, now just let your eyes go in. This is your chance to check somebody out. Look around the room. All right, say it together.
You are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. You are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. You are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. You are perfectly holy and perfectly hot.
And breathe.
That was fun.
Okay, this is our mission.
Okay.
All right. You ready? We are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. 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 Breathe with me, please. Breathe in all of the prosperity and abundance of the universe that's your divine right as a child of God right now. Breathe in all of the unconditional love that you are made out of. Breathe in all the unconditional love that you're made out of. Breathe it in. Take in all of the admiration that you deserve. The recognition that you deserve. Breathe it in. Holy and perfectly hot. We are perfectly 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 holy, perfectly hot. Perfectly holy and 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 perfectly hot. We are perfectly holy and perfectly hot. Perfectly holy and perfectly hot. We are 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 perfectly holy and perfectly hot. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I don't mind acknowledgement. Thank you, brother. It's a cool thing to receive, especially if you want some one day. It might be an opportunity to guarantee a little bit for yourself. I've already had an absolutely incredible New Year's Day. The first thing this morning, at 10 o'clock, I've already talked to 500 people from all around the world this morning.
Wow.
Before I even got here. I was asked to be one of the guest speakers on this thing called the World Unity Call. And put on by the Life Divine, which is an aspect of ACIM, which is a spiritual teacher in her group. And so they had ACIM, so they had over 500 people all over the world, all hooked up on this unity call for all of us to set intention for what we wanted for ourselves and what we wanted for the world.
Yeah.
And so I got a chance to really share my intention. I mean, just think that I got a chance to share my intention with the whole world. This morning.
Woo!
And that intention is to recognize myself for who I really am, so that I can get all this stuff out of the way that keeps me from loving you the way you deserve to be loved all the time. You know, my intention was that we all recognize that we are one with each other, and that we just need to change our perception so that we can hear our inner guidance. And when we can hear our inner guidance, we'll be told what to do individually. You know, but the first thing I had to tell everybody was that they was juicy and sweet. And went over big, because we all want to hear the truth about ourselves. You know, and so at the end of it, so it was another incredible speaker, and then Dakini, who was the one that's with Life Divine, who invited me to speak. She shared some incredible thoughts of love, and we had an awesome meditation. And then right at the end, it took about 15 minutes of the hour to let every country, somebody representing every country, set the intention for their country in this world together. So he was like, Mexico, what's your intention? Blah, 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 you know, New Zealand, what's your, Japan. So I'm like, listen, for all these people all over the world setting the intention to love, to love themselves and to love the world and heal the world. And that's the way we started off. That's the way I started off my morning. Then, to top it all off, I get a chance to spend this time with you. You know, I mean, how blessed is that? How can it get better than this? That's the question I always try to end everything with. And how can it get better than this? Because it leaves it open, you know. So I want to talk about my favorite section for the new year, the Course in Miracles, and it's called the New Beginning, which is really chapter 30 in the textbook. And I'm going to try to do the unthinkable. This is going to be like the sign of the new year, because what I'm going to attempt to do is cover this entire section in an hour. And it's something that's never been attempted yet in any Course in Miracles class. But I realized that I know what it's talking about, and we know what it's talking about, and everything that keeps us from getting it immediately is just the tricks that we're trying to play on ourselves to keep from being happy. But y'all know, so what I want to do, I want to put the emphasis on practical application and hardcore, what I call hardcore Course in Miracles. I'm also going to do a series on the internet. It's called Hardcore Course. You know, and it's going to be rated X. You know, for extra good. Okay. So the Course in Miracles says that, and I haven't translated the entire section using the Course in Miracles definitions of the terms. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it'll be a lot easier to understand also. But I also want to, the Spirit told me that it definitely wanted me to read the Course more, because he said to me that it's important that we hear the truth, even if we don't understand it. And so I don't want to deny this, because to me, reading the Course is my greatest joy. I love reading the Course in Miracles. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to say what it said. And then after I get through saying what it said, I'm going to say what I said. Okay, everybody with me? First you tell people what you're going to tell them, then you tell them what you told them. That's what you communicate to people. Let me tell you what I need to tell you. Now I'm telling you. Now let me tell you what I told you. That's what you're supposed to do it. You know. You don't have to believe it, accept it, welcome it. So it's already said it's okay that you don't have to believe it, so nobody's trying to convince anybody of anything, because the book said we don't have to believe it. But if we use it, we will see that it was true. Okay? So here I go. I'm going to let you hear 30 years of reading the Course. The New Beginning, Introduction. And you could use it as a meditation if you really just wanted to chill and listen to my beautiful DJ-like voice. You could do that too. The New Beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The goal is clear, but now you need specific methods for attaining the goal. The speed by which the goal can be reached depends on this one thing alone: your willingness to practice every step. Your willingness to practice every step. Each step will help a little every time the step is attempted. Each step will help a little. Every time it's attempted, each step will help a little every time it's attempted. And together with these steps lead you from dreams of judgment to forgiving dreams, which is out of pain and out of fear. These rules are not new to you, but these rules are more ideas than rules of thought to you as yet. So now we need to practice these ideas a while until these ideas are the rules by which you live. We seek to make these rules of thought habits now. So you will have these rules of decision ready for whatever need. We're gonna make it a habit so you can have it every time you need it. Number one, rules for decision. 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 South from the South. Rules for decision. Decisions are continuous. Decisions are continuous. So it's on page 6. Oh, okay. Okay. Decisions are continuous. You don't always know when you're making decisions. You don't always know when you're making decisions. You don't always know when you're making decisions. You don't always know when you're making decisions, but with a little practice with the decisions you recognize, a set begins to form which sees you through the rest of your decisions. It's not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. It's not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. The proper set, adopted consciously each time you wait, will put you well ahead. The proper set will put you well ahead. The proper set will put you well ahead. And if you find resistance strong, and dedication weak, you are not ready. If you find resistance strong and dedication weak, you are not ready. If your resistance is strong, you ain't ready. Do not fight yourself. Do not fight yourself. But think about the kind of day you want. Tell yourself there is a way in which that very day can happen just like you want. Then try again to have the day you want. So the outlook starts with this. Today I will make no decisions by myself. 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 This means, today I will make no decisions by myself, means that you are choosing not to be the judge of what to do today. You are choosing not to be the judge of what to do today. But it must also mean, today I will make no decisions by itself, must also mean you will not judge the situations where you're called upon to make response. You will not judge the situations where you are called upon to make response. Because if you judge the situations where you are called upon to make response, if you judge the situations in which you are called upon to make response, you set the rules for how you should react to them. If you judge it, you're going to set the rules as to how you should react to it. And then another answer cannot but produce confusion and uncertainty and fear. See, this is your major problem now, Raj. This is your major problem now. You still make up your mind and then decide to ask what you should do. You still make up your mind and then ask what you should do. And what you hear may not resolve the problem as you saw the problem first. This leads to fear because what you're hearing contradicts what you perceive, and so you feel attacked and therefore angry. There are rules by which this will not happen. There are rules by which this will not happen, but it does happen. You get mad at first. You get mad at first. You get mad at the truth at first. You get mad at first while you're learning how to hear. So while you're learning how to hear, you're going to get mad. Because the truth is going to be different from what you've made up your mind the answer should be. So when you get the truth, and it's not what you made up what it should be, he says you're going to get mad while you're learning how to hear. He says throughout the day, at any time you think of it, and have a quiet moment for reflection, throughout the day, tell yourself again, which you always do all day anyway. Tell yourself again the kind of day you want, the feelings you want to have, the things you want to happen to you, and the things you would experience. Whenever you get a chance, tell yourself the kind of day you want, the feelings you want to have, the things you want to happen to you, and the things you want to experience. Throughout the day, when you have a quiet moment for reflection, tell yourself again the kind of day you want to have, the feelings you would have, the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself when you got a quiet moment, tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself the things you would experience. Tell yourself the things you want to experience. Tell yourself the things you want to experience. And when you get through telling yourself what you want to happen to you, when you get through telling yourself what you want to experience, when you get through telling yourself what kind of day you want to have, when you get through telling yourself how you want to feel, say,
if I make no decisions by myself. This is the day that will be given me if I make no decisions by myself. This is the day that will be given me if I make no decisions by myself. This is the day that I will have if I don't make any decisions without God. This is the day I'm going to have if I don't make any decisions without God. This is the day I'm going to have if I make any decisions if I don't make any decisions without love. This is the day that I'm going to have. These two procedures practice well. What two procedures? What two procedures? This procedure, telling yourself what you want to happen to you and then saying if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. He said these two procedures practice well will serve. Telling yourself what you want and then telling yourself you can have it if you don't make any decisions by yourself will serve to let you be directed without fear, for opposition will not first arise and then become a problem in itself. But there will still be times when you judged already, and now the answer will provoke attack unless you quickly straighten out your mind. Quickly straighten out your mind. Quickly straighten out your mind. How do you straighten out your mind? You want an answer that will work. Unless you quickly straighten out your mind to want an answer that will work. To straighten out your mind means to want an answer that will work. I 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 want an answer that will work. Now my mind is straightened out. How do I know my mind is straightened out? Because now I want the answer that works. Now be certain you've already judged already if you feel unwilling to sit by and ask to have the answer given you. If you're not willing to sit down and ask for the answer, it means you've already decided by yourself, so you won't even see the question. Now you need a quick restorative before you ask again. So what do? Okay, you upset again about something. What do? Well, the first thing you do is you remember once again the day you want. Then you recognize that something has occurred that's not part of it. This is the day I want. Something that's happened that's not part of what I wanted to happen. This is the day I want. This is something that's happened in this day that's not what I wanted to happen. He says, when you say this, he says, then realize you must have asked a question by yourself. So that means you must have said an answer in your own terms. When you said an answer in your own terms, then say, I have no question, I forgot what to decide. What is it that I forgot to decide? I forgot to decide not to make any decisions without God. I still made a decision without asking for guidance. I still made a decision without asking the universe what I should do. I still made up my mind and went about trying to get it without asking for God's guidance. And so the answer is opposite to what I made it up to be. And so now I'm upset because something's happening today that I didn't want to happen. But I don't realize that the reason why I'm having a bad day is because it's the day that I made up without God. It's the day that I entered without asking. Okay, then it goes on to say, when you say, I have no question, I forgot what to decide, this cancels out the terms that you've set. What does that mean? It means it lets the answer show you what the question must have really been. And you can say, well, what does that mean? It means that you need to try to observe this rule without delay, despite your opposition. So what's the course telling me? I don't care how much opposition you have to this, you need to observe this rule quickly and say, I'm upset right now, I have no question, I forgot what to decide. I must have forgot what to decide. I must have forgot what to decide. I'm unhappy and I'm angry, I must have forgotten what to decide. And what is it that I should be deciding? I should be deciding not to make any decisions without my higher self, not to make any decisions without God, without asking for guidance from love. How can I tell when I'm listening to the voice of God and when I'm listening to the voice of my ego? If I'm listening to the voice of my ego, I feel afraid. If I'm listening to the voice of God, then I feel light. I was trying to make some decisions this morning and I was asking myself, what makes you feel heavier and what makes you feel lighter? Whatever makes you feel lighter is the truth of your being in that moment, so you need to follow it. So then I made my decision based on that, and then the conflict went away because the only thing that causes conflict is not making up your mind. So as soon as you make up your mind, the conflict's gone. So I had to immediately go, okay, let me make a decision. Okay, doing this thing that I'm thinking about doing, does it make me feel heavy right now, a little bit lighter right now? Honestly, it actually makes me feel a little bit heavy. Okay, that's it. Boop, answer done. In a conflict. So the court says when you feel like you are upset because you didn't get what you wanted, it says, say, I have no question, I forgot what to decide. This cancels out the terms you set and lets the answer show you what the question must have really been. Now try to observe this rule without delay. Try to observe this rule without delay. Despite your now the Course in Miracles reads in circles. Let me show you. Watch this one sentence. I'm gonna circle it for you. Try to observe this rule without delay. Despite your opposition, try to observe this rule without delay. Despite your opposition, try to observe this rule without delay. Despite your opposition, try to observe this. Notice how the Course reads in a circle. It says, 4, you've already gotten angry and your fear of being answered in a different way from what your version of the question asked will gain momentum until you believe that the day you want is the day in which you get your answer to your question, and you will not get your answer to your question because getting your answer to your question would destroy the day. The Course in Miracles says, if you want to make sure that your day don't happen, then all you have to do is have it your way. He said, if you want to be sure that the day you want doesn't happen, you have to be willing to do it your way. Without asking, do it your way. Then he goes on to say, well, I'm sorry. He says, you're going to get to the point that you're going to say, I got to get it my way. He says, but you won't get it because it would destroy the day by robbing you of what you really want. And you know what you really want is peace and love and joy and God and truth. He says, this can be very hard to realize. 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 This can be very hard to realize when once you have decided by yourself the rules that promise you a happy day. This can be very hard to realize. What can be very hard to realize? They're getting it the way I think I want to have it would actually rob me of what I want because the way I want to have it ain't the way you can really have it. So it can be very hard for me to realize that because I've already decided what's going to make me happy today. And once I've already decided what's going to make me happy today, it's going to be hard for me to realize that the way I made it up isn't the way that would work. That's what this book just told us. So once you've decided what's going to make you happy, it's going to be very hard for you to realize that if you got it the way you thought you wanted it, you would never receive what you're asking for. It's your way of getting what you want. The Course in Miracles says, I know y'all New Age people, you don't like to hear the word wrong. There's a part of us that just, don't say the word wrong. All ways are right. Don't never say it's wrong. But you know what? You stop doing something fast if you think it's wrong. Because your mind has already been trained not to do wrong stuff. So you could just work with the way your mind is already programmed rather than trying to constantly change the programming of your mind, then do the things you could have done with the programming you already had and save yourself a lot of time.
Right.
You already believe in wrong, so the book said let's use wrong. Well, it's wrong. Your happiness, the way you come up with the way you should receive it, Earl, is wrong. So if I did it as the universe, if I did it the way you wanted it done, you never would get what you wanted. Because you made a decision about how you should have this without me to begin with. You made up your own plan that's not based on the truth. And then you ask for my help. Well, if you want my help, I'm going to have to show you how wrong you are. So that you can listen to the plan that'll work. So it's going to look like it's a catastrophe to you because all the illusions you have about yourself are going to be revealed to you. And you're going to see just how crazy you really are. Which is going to be in the front to your face of innocence, which thinks you're the nicest person in the world. But beneath that face of innocence you got, you're so kind that somebody that want to kick everybody's ass. But you're too nice to even admit that. So the truth is, you made a decision without me, and that's why you're upset right now. You're making decisions without love, and that's why you're upset right now. It's not really. So let's go. I'm reading. Let me go deeper. All right. All right. It's all right as I read. It's okay if I read. It's all right. Yeah. Only those who really want to hear. If you really want to hear it, don't read it. I'm trapped. Let me out of this course class. Let me out. I didn't mean to come no way. I don't know how I ended up here. I thought I was starting out my new year right. I'm going to tell you, buddy, the Holy Spirit said I was getting too serious with myself. And I was going to go blind. The first thing to do is your sense of humor. Okay. If you're so unwilling to receive, you cannot even let your question go. If you're so willing to receive that you can't even let your question go, you can begin to change your mind with this. You can begin to change your mind with this. You can begin to change your mind with this. At least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. At least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. I do not like what I feel now. I do not like how I feel now. I don't like how I'm feeling right now. I don't like how I'm feeling right now. At least I can decide I don't like how I'm feeling right now. At least I can decide that I don't like what I feel now. He said, if you're so unwilling that you can't even let your question go, you can't even give up your idea the way it's supposed to happen, and you're all frustrated, and you got to make a decision about something on your own, the court says, but at least you can decide you don't like the way you feel right now. I'll give you one decision. Here's a little decision. You just got to make one, Raj. Here's one. Decide you don't like how you feel right now. Good. Then it goes on to say that you don't like how you feel right now. This much is obvious. And paves the way for the next easy step. What kind of step?
Easy.
Did I hear it say what?
Easy.
Did it say?
Easy.
Would you like to be?
Easy.
It's important to you to be?
Easy.
So you're willing for it to be?
Easy.
All right, all right. All right. So this paves the way for the, ramp it up. This paves the way for the next easy step. You ready for it? Having decided that you do not like the way you feel, having decided that you do not like the way you feel, having decided that you don't like the way you feel, what could be easier than to continue with, and so I hope I have been wrong. And since you've decided you don't like the way you feel, Jesus says in the course, well, what could be easier than to continue with, and so I hope I'm wrong. I can decide I don't like what I feel now, and guess what? So I hope I've been wrong. I have been wrong. I don't like the way I feel now, and so I hope I have been wrong. I don't like the way I feel now, and so I hope I have been wrong. I hope I have been wrong. I hope I have been wrong. I feel miserable. I hope I'm wrong. I feel miserable. I hope I'm wrong. I feel broke. I hope I'm wrong. I feel like I'm going to be alone. I hope I'm wrong. I feel like I can never be happy in the world. I hope I'm wrong. The court says, decide you don't like the way you feel, then say you don't want to be right about it. Yeah, this is the way I feel. I think I hate my mama, but I hope I'm wrong. I think you're my enemy and you're talking to me behind my back, but I sure hope I'm wrong. I don't like the way I feel about you, but I sure hope I'm wrong. Can anybody here do that insincerely? Are all of you capable of saying any of this with no sincerity?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you know it's the truth. It always meets you where you are. And so your sincerity is not necessary for you to benefit through the teachings of truth. Your believing it and your understanding is not a necessary contribution to the effectiveness of the truth. God asks whether you believe in God or not. Your belief doesn't determine the existence of something real. Your belief only determines the existence of a fantasy. If it's a fantasy, you have to believe in it. Problem with a fantasy is you're the only one that sees it usually. So that means your fantasies get disappointed because they're not shared. Nobody else knows about them.
Thank you.
So anything real's got to be shared. And if it's real, the more you share it, the more you have it. So anything that you share that's not yours wasn't a real sharing. Because whenever you really share, you never lose what you share. Got that? According to the course, you don't lose what you share. You lose what you don't share. And think of the things you don't want to share, and then ask yourself honestly, aren't those the things that are the most temporary?
Yeah.
And you tell me what it is you want to keep all for yourself, and I bet you're going to be telling me about a temporary thing. Something that doesn't last. Because that's the only thing you can keep to yourself is something that doesn't last. If it's real, everybody shares in it. Everybody has it. If it's real, all of us have the same powers. All of us have the same abilities. All of us have the same amount of love from the one love that created us all. If it's real, it's equally given and equally received. That, when I began to hear that from studying the course, I knew exactly why I was having problems in my love life. Because there was nothing about my love life that was shared. Except the anger, or the disappointment, or the scripts, or the judgments, or trying to get that person to make up for me what somebody before them didn't do for me because they're supposed to restore my wounded self-esteem so that it'll never happen to me again. And that's supposed to be a good time.
Yeah.
Inviting.
I don't see my soulmate. You know, I don't see the person that reminds me the most of the person from the past. I'm looking for the person that reminds me of the person of the past who's going to make up for what the person of the past didn't do. I'm looking for my soulmate. I'm going to read. Then it says,
Yeah.
I think I better read.
Yes, you better
I
read.
feel a little
Read,
threatened
hurry
there
up
for a
and
minute.
read. Hurry up and read.
Course teacher killed on New Year's Day after setting his intention of loving everybody. Film at 11. Why you killing him? He was telling me I was too cool. was of the devil. Why? He told me I was innocent. Oh, Lord, I'm glad y'all got rid of him. He was Satan himself. But only the devil would tell you that you were innocent.
Huh.
Everybody know God thinks you're guilty. So that means the devil has a better opinion of you than God does. No wonder people worship the devil.
Oh my.
Oh.
Devil more fun. All the things I thought I was going to hell for when I was growing up as a Southern Baptist were always the things I liked to do. And everything I thought was boring as hell was a description of heaven. As a young black man, I could care less about playing a harp. Somebody else gonna give me their description of what heaven is, what my happiness is, based on their belief system. And then I'm supposed to like buy into it once I wake up that it's all made up. That's the thing that blows my mind. Is how we still keep on acting according to rules that we say we know aren't true. Then we'll sit up here and say, oh, I don't believe in that stuff I grew up with. And then you find in just 2 seconds you're judging yourself based on all of those rules. That's why you're not letting yourself have a good time right now. Why not? If you're not paying attention to the old rules that used to hold you back, how come you're not free? If you're so doggone loving, why aren't you happy? Could it be that obvious?
Yes.
Could it really be that obvious?
Yes.
Can you say that again?
I can't tell you nothing I said. I'm just about to let the words come through. And I'm being animated. Yeah, I think I'm here. Earl's ready to be off to the side. Going, don't say that!
Well, I love that part where you said, if you're so, what is it, if you're so
Loving.
Loving. How come you're happy?
Right, you're such a loving person.
Yeah.
You know, you're so loving that you look so pitiful so everybody can see what they've done to you just by looking at you. They can tell that they must be really crappy because of the way you look in their presence.
If you see
How do I know I don't make you happy? Because all you're showing me is your sadness.
Right.
So that's a very simple thing to answer. If I was really being used as a means for your joy, you'd feel happy in my presence. The fact that you're not just means that you just want to show me how much I've hurt you and what the world has done to you. You want me to witness your own victimization of yourself and show you a lot of compassion because you kicking your own butt. As a matter of fact, you want me to join you so that my butt can be kicked along with yours, because if we're suffering together, we must be close. How can I tell you close to me? Well, you're in the skillet with me. You're my friend. Jump in the skillet. If you really love me, you'll burn like I am. Come on, jump in this sad skillet. If you really care about me, everybody knows that empathy means you join in my suffering with me and you share my suffering with me if you really love me.
That's right.
So an unconscious person forms relationships so they can have somebody to suffer with and not alone.
Wow, thank you.
A person that's conscious is wanting to join with somebody to both be reminded of the infinite joy and love and peace and beauty that they are, and that the past is gone and the only time is now, and let's make a decision for peace together right now. Then we can have peace right now and just go to the movie. Let's go to a movie.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Once you begin to wake up, you realize that you can make a decision to change the way you're looking at things at any given moment, so you just give yourself a new interpretation, then you feel better, then you move on. A person that wants to suffer, they have to exclude every thought that would make them feel good. And sometimes to make sure they never hear anything to make them feel good, they join in a relationship with somebody who constantly condemns and judges them, which makes sure that they'll get their goal achieved, which is to feel bad about themselves. And so they've hired somebody to do it pretty much full time. So some people want a full-time torturer because they think they deserve to suffer. Okay.
Yep.
Now, Spirit is telling us, I can turn your torturer into the best thing in the world for you. I could teach you how to use everything that you're doing to yourself to free you. Are you open to another way of looking at it? So no matter what situation you're in, you could be looking at it in a way that you'll feel more peace. And at least if you could feel more peace in it, you could probably hear my guidance to you. And when you heard my guidance, you would know the way to get out of this situation immediately. I think I'll read some because that's what I'm going to try to get through this whole thing. And I am. Because if we're not going to analyze it, we can move on.
Yes, we can.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. The Course in Miracles says it's a trick to focus on what you don't understand, because when you focus on what you don't understand, it says that you're just trying to emphasize your feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. It's a trick. So trying to understand something that you don't understand from a Course perspective is just a delaying maneuver to keep you from actually practicing what you do understand. Because you did not understand everything I've said since you sat here. So if the person only remembered the parts that they understood and acted on those, then you would get the healing that you want in your life right now. Your ego, the part of you that still wants to suffer, is going to insist on understanding what I said to you today. Because it's focusing on what it didn't understand and what it did feel a lot of resistance to. Now, the thing you feel the most resistance to that I say to you is always the thing that's the most true. That's why you're feeling so much resistance, because you've been pegged. You know, if I say, there's a part of you that's selfish and don't love nobody, just really want to blow everybody away. You go, not me, I'm the angel of light. Okay, now, right there with my driver's license. Who is this? Oh, this is the angel of light. Oh, Joe, we've been wondering about her. We've been looking for her. Okay. So we can destroy her. We're the world. We don't hang out with angels. We get rid of all those kind of beings. We got to make sure the fearful beings stay afraid, and they have to stay afraid by always hearing frightening things. So we got to make sure no love and light gets through them, so they can stay under our control. Don't let no love through. That's right. That's right. That's why teachers who are most out telling the truth got the smallest amount of people around, so they can be safe. I'm glad nobody's ever heard of me. I'm so glad. Wow, that means I can be living my truth and I can be totally free and nobody cares, nobody's watching me, nobody's trying to keep up with what I'm doing, it doesn't really matter, I can do whatever I want to do. And since I'm conscious enough to know that, I'm also conscious enough to not want to be harmful. So it's not like you're going to run amok that once you recognize you're innocent and free. You don't recognize you're innocent and free until you want to be peaceful. It's a condition of recognizing your freedom is that you're not going to hurt nobody with it. As a matter of fact, you can't hurt anybody. Because nothing happens to anybody that they don't order at some level for themselves. Because if that wasn't true, then we would truly be helpless. Even if that's hard to take because there's some things that you maybe manifested that you don't want to believe you're the one that did it. I understand that, but I'm sorry, it doesn't change the truth of it. You're an infinitely powerful being and nothing comes to you except by your choice. That's going to save you, even though right now it makes you mad because you can't imagine that you would do that to yourself, whatever you think that thing was. Right? But if you've been told you're guilty and sinful and not enough, then it makes total sense that you would punish yourself for being that way so that you could be healed. Because we're taught that punishment is correction, and if you want to be happy, then you need to punish people, and that's how you correct things. So if you think you're not loved enough as you should be, or you're not appreciating yourself, then you're going to punish yourself because you think that's the way you correct things in this dream we're having called I'm a human being in the world trying to make it. That's the dream we made up. That's great, y'all. Let's make up a dream. I'm a human being in the world trying to make it. We're going to all join in on it together, okay? We got an unlimited budget. So let's create this reality that it looks like we're separate so we can see what it would be like if we thought we were different and separate from each other and strangers from each other. Let's see, what kind of world would that be like if we thought we were temporary beings that could die and we were a victim of everything that was happening around us, and then we're going to try to have a good time. Oh, that really sounds like a fun premise to me. That's just guaranteed that we're going to have a good time. We are so powerful that we can even fool ourselves into thinking we're not. And then prove it to ourselves by hurting our bodies daily. Because without bodies, you wouldn't feel no pain. Yeah. So you're using your body to convince yourself that's what you are. Instead of an unlimited spiritual being, you're now a body that can get the mumps. Swine flu. You know, the Son of God running from swine flu. Don't you see how funny that is? But it's not funny when you forget to laugh. It's not funny when you're around people that's never reminding you that you're stronger than that. We need each other. You're not gonna wake up by yourself. What Spirit's telling me, forget it, Raj. You over. The whole idea of an I space is over now. You are going into we space now. And you want to be around people who are into a we space now. And you got to be one yourself. And you got to tell yourself, at least you can decide you don't like what you're feeling right now, and so you hope you've been wrong. Now, why do you want to tell yourself that you hope you've been wrong? Because this works against the sense of opposition and reminds you that help isn't being thrust upon you But help is something that you want and something that you need. The Course said, when you say, I hope I have been wrong, you admit to yourself that you need help and that you don't like the way you feel. When you say you hope you are wrong, it reminds you that I'm not trying to force my help on you. That's what this Course says. God is saying to us, I'm not trying to force my help on you. I'm not trying to force love. I'm not trying to force any kind of help on you. You acting like I'm trying to hurt you. Like you come in here and I'm trying to just put something on you that's going to hurt you. You listening from the perspective like me trying to hurt you, help you is going to hurt you. So you sitting up there going, how is this going to hurt me? That's what this book is telling us. It says, I'm trying to remind you that help isn't something that's being thrust upon you. I'm trying to remind your butt, Earl, that help is something that you want. You need it. He says, but why do I need help? Just because you don't like the way you feel. That's why you need it. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. Whenever you don't like the way you feel, you need help. This tiny opening would be enough to let you go ahead with just a few more steps you need to let yourself be helped. This book is trying to tell us what steps we need to take to even let ourselves be helped. Mm-hmm. This is a book on the steps you need to take in order to let God help you. We have the, and that's so funny. What they do? They in the class so they can learn how to let God help them. Isn't that hilarious? Something is having to teach me how to let something good happen to me.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I'm so deep in my illusion that I'm suspicious of something that's trying to teach me how to let myself be helped. Right? And then it says, what is the tiny opening that will let you go ahead? It said the tiny opening would be for you to tell yourself, I hope I have been wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm unhappy about this. I hope I'm wrong. I'm unhappy about this. He says that's a tiny opening that will let you be helped. To say that you hope you're wrong will let you finally be helped. Then it goes on to the next paragraph. It says, now when you to that point that you're willing to admit that you hope you have been wrong, the Course says now you've reached the turning point. What's the turning point? Well, you're at the turning point because it's occurred to you that you will gain if what you have decided isn't so. You're at the turning point the minute you realize it would be to your advantage to be incorrect about the way you're seeing things if you're unhappy and miserable. It would be to your advantage to be wrong. He says when you get to that point, he says you are now at the turning point. So anybody in this room that's at the point right now that they're telling themselves that they hope they're wrong about the things that's making them unhappy, he says you, my brother and sister, you're at the turning point. Then it goes on to tell us that until you're at the turning point, this is what you're going to tell yourself. You will believe your happiness depends on being right. So the person who has not reached the turning point where they're really ready to be healed is always the person who still has to be right no matter what. So wherever in your life you need to be right no matter what, that's where you haven't reached the turning point of your happiness. It means that's still the area that you're not willing to admit that you hope you are wrong because you don't like the way you experience in that area of your life. In whatever area of your life that you don't like the way you are feeling in it, that if you want to get out of it, you need to start saying today, Raj, you need to start saying that I hope that I'm wrong because that's my willingness to let myself be helped. It's to say I hope I'm wrong. He says now, this much reason have you now attained. You would be better off if you were wrong. Notice that when the Course in Miracles is shared within a group, reading it straight out of the book that I'm doing, a lot of you all are hearing it a lot better than you do when you're trying to read it on your own. Anybody having that experience? That the Course right now isn't sounding as abstract, the way out is sounding, it makes perfect sense, right? Okay, so that means you do have a sane mind. It's there. Because only your sane mind could hear this. The Course in Miracles says only the partially insane can do this. So that we've been complimented. Oh, the Course says I'm just partially insane now. I used to be totally insane. Now I'm just partly insane. I'm so proud. I used to be totally crazy. Now I'm just crazy every now and then. So I need to be around some people who can forgive my craziness every now and then. I don't need to be around a bunch of people that expect me to always be sane every minute. I put that on myself a lot as a teacher. You know, people expect me to be sane every minute, and then when I'm not, it freak them out. You know, oh, you've been doing the Course all this time, and you still get upset. What hope is there for me? It's just an excuse not to do it. That's all it is. It's so funny. The more you study the Course, the more you won't be able to the part of you that tries to hurt you will not be able to hide from you. And so it won't be able to hurt you as much as it used to, because you'll recognize that joker, whether it's something in your own mind or if it walks up in the form of a human being asking for your phone number.
Say that again?
That when you begin to recognize the truth, the part of you that could hurt you, you would recognize it even if it took the form of a person that you were attracted to, that you were asking for their phone number. You realize, no, this wouldn't be the right person for me, because the way that we think is totally different, and we got different goals, and we're not looking at it the same way, so there's going to be a whole lot of conflict around here. I just heard them say that they still believe in hell. Okay, I know that's not particularly my thing that I believe in. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're listening and you know who you are, you ought to know who to join with and who not to join. But if you don't know who you are, you're just hoping somebody to show up who will make you happy. And they don't even know how to make you happy, because you wouldn't even be able to tell that they were making you happy, because you don't even know what makes you happy. So they'd be working that can off all the time, and you still never be satisfied because you don't even know what makes you happy. So don't hook up with somebody that has no idea what they want. They'll have you trying a whole, you'll be just like somebody trying on a whole bunch of clothes so they can decide if they like it. That's what you become. You become like they in front of your dressing room. Now, try this experience and see if it makes me happy. Oh, no, you didn't do that right. Well, try this one over here. Let's see if that makes me happy. No, I didn't like that one. See if you can take me over here. They don't know what makes them happy. So they're always looking for you to do something that finally makes them happy.
Wow.
But if you know what you want, then you can evaluate the situation, because if you have no goal, you don't know what's right or wrong for you. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
And those people usually can't just be with one person. They have to have multiple people in their life.
Well,
to find that satisfaction, right?
Right. Well, it's like they're searching, so sometimes it makes sense that if you're searching through more things, you have a possibility of finding it faster than if you search through a lot of things and through a few things if you really want to have it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the part is such a trip, you know, is that at some point we'll recognize that there's nothing outside of ourselves that will make us happy. And that once you accept the happiness within yourself, then the world reflects the happiness you have within you, and all of a sudden all those people that seem like they make you happy start showing up, and you be freaking you out because they're coming from everywhere. And you don't realize they're showing up just because you're finally feeling some peace within yourself about you. Because they didn't want to be around you when you were a drag. So the happy people don't show up until you start being like one. You've been down other than that. Now, so what you do is you attract other people who are unhappy also. Y'all need to work through the things y'all need to let go of in order for both of y'all to realize the happiness together. And since you both have the same issues, you just be more forgiving of each other because you're really not that different. So it's actually easier to advance in consciousness with someone like you than it is with somebody that you think so far beyond you that you can't even relate to them. They just bring up your inferiority complexes more. Hanging out with Jesus would be tough on your ego. And he'd go walking across the water and you drowning and calling him. Might have been better if both of y'all didn't know how to swim in y'all saying, stay up in the water! You know what I'm saying? Because I can't save you, baby. I tell you, start drowning, I'm going to have to this holy instant, what I give to you? Start using the Course in Miracles prayer, but you're going down. And I gotta hope I know enough course not to feel guilty about that. You know, because you get honest with yourself when you start to wake up. You start to tell the truth about your own ego. You do. You don't play with yourself anymore. You go, oh no, I know this and that's something that needs to be corrected in me. You know. All right, I know. I'm gonna get to these two paragraphs, and then I'm gonna do the rest of it. That last part, which is essentially a review of the first part, is really cool. I'll do that next week. Okay, but I want to get through the steps today. All right? Okay. All right. Now, the Course in Miracles from this point on is going to be hardcore on your innocence and your really deserving to be happy, and us really being willing to look at what keeps us from doing that and going to the next level. That's where I'm at this year. I'm going to the next level. Yes. Yeah. Y'all want to go to the next label with me?
Yeah.
We so tough, we don't go to levels, we go through labels. We're such an advanced class, we're going through labels. Okay. And I would really love it if you made sure you were on my contact list, okay? We're going to be having surprise seminars.
All right.
And just like a 72-hour notice, I'm going to do a seminar on how to have 1,000 orgasms through the course. So we're going to try to get that workshop fast. All people with no sense of humor, please bypass my class. Do us all a favor.
Is that all?
That's all. That's it.
10,000, that's all.
Yeah, that's all. Just 10,000. Now say I have no question. I forgot what to decide. wrong about that. I love to talk about the stuff that people have the most guilt about. That's why I like to bring up sexual stuff. Because that's where most people have all their issues is around the body, something about the body. And I want to change my mind about all those things. I want to talk to other adults who want to change their mind about all those things. I don't think there's anybody in this room that's under 12 years old, so why do we act like it? Why do we feel like we have to talk like it? Oh, you said, okay. Yeah, that's what you sound like when you have one. Okay, now. Sheila gonna run me out of this church. Sheila, I didn't say that. I was channeling. That was HBO. Sometimes I get a little off with my channels. Okay. You know? Yeah. So he says, now you reach the turning point. You with me, y'all? He says, because it's occurred to you that you would gain if what you decided isn't so. Until this point is reached. What point is reached? When you recognize that you would gain if what you decided is not so, you will believe your happiness depends on being right. Mm-hmm. But this much reason have you now attained. You've attained this much reason. You would be better off if you were wrong. This tiny grain of wisdom. What tiny grain of wisdom? You recognize that you would be better off if you were wrong will suffice. You saying you would be better off if you were wrong will suffice to do what? To take you further. So saying that you were better off if you were wrong, it would what? Take you further. That means you are not coerced. I'm not coercing anybody in this class, but you merely hope to get a thing you want. You're not being coerced, you just want to get the thing you want. So you can say in perfect honesty, I want another way to look at this.
Yeah.
I want another way to look at this. Now you change your mind about the day. Why? Because you remember what you really want. What is it you really want? I really want another way to look at this. What do I really want? I really want another way to look at this. Why? Because I don't like the way I feel right now, and so I hope I'm wrong. Well, where did this problem come from? Well, I had no question. I forgot what to decide. What was it I forgot to decide? Not to make any decisions by myself after I told myself what I wanted to happen to me.
Wow, thank you.
He says, now you change your mind about the day. You remember what you really want. What does that mean? The purpose of the day has no longer been obscured by the insane belief you want the day for the goal of being right when you're wrong. The Course says, we get up in the morning and say, I want to be right today, even when I'm wrong all day. Even if I'm wrong, I want to be right. He says, that's how we get up in the morning. He says, that's our goal in the morning. I'd rather be right than be happy. Even if I'm doing something wrong, I don't want to admit it or know about it. I'd rather be right than be. My goal is to be right no matter what today, and that I'm the right one. So it says its purpose has no longer been obscured by the insane belief you wanted for the goal of being right when you're wrong. He says, thus is the readiness for asking brought to your awareness, because if you realize it'd be better if you were wrong. He says, at that point, your readiness for asking has been brought to your awareness. Why? Because you cannot be in conflict. I love this. You can't be in conflict when you ask for what you want and see that it's this for which you ask. You can't, in other words, you cannot be in conflict when you're asking for what you want and you see that you're asking for what you want. You're in conflict when you ask for what you want but don't see you asking for what you want. So you're in conflict whenever you think something is happening to you that's not what you asked for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So conflict comes from believing that something is happening to you right now that you aren't asking for. You wouldn't be in conflict if you said, what's happening to me right now is what I've asked for. You wouldn't be in conflict anymore. The conflict is because you're asking for something and don't know you're asking for something. So he says, this final step is but what? Acknowledgement of lack of opposition to be helped.
Right.
So when I say I want another way to look at this, that's me telling God, I'm not opposed to you helping me, Father. I'm not opposed to you helping me, Creator. I'm going to let you know I'm serious about it. I'm not opposed to your help by telling you I want another way to look at my mom. I want another way to look at my job. I want another way to look at myself. I want another way to look at my financial situation. I want another way to look at my body. I want another way to look at Denver. I want another way to look. 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 Every time I say I want another way to look, that's acknowledging to God that I have a lack of opposition to be helped. So what are you saying when you say I want another way to look at this? He says it is a statement of an open mind. So your mind is open when you say you want another way to look at it. Your mind is open when you say I want another way to look at it. And then the Course in Miracles defines an open mind. It says an open mind is a mind not certain yet, but willing to be shown. So you have an open mind if you really have a lot of doubts, but you're willing to look at it differently. You really have a lot of doubts, but you're willing to be shown. That's what an open mind says. I don't know, but I'm willing to be helped. That's an open mind. You with me? You with me? And so the statement of an open mind is, perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? He said, thus you now can ask a question that makes sense. And so the answer will make sense as well. Nor will you fight against the answer, because you see that it's you that will be helped by the answer. You won't fight against the answer because you'll see that it's you that's going to be helped by the answer. I will stop fighting God when I see that it's me that God is trying to help. I'll stop fighting somebody who I really believe is trying to help me. So you're going to get to the point that you no longer fight and resist and oppose your help. But you acknowledge yourself for hearing that much. Give it up for you. This is your energy for you for the new year. Your energy towards yourself for the new year. All right. Okay. We're going to do the love offering. Thank you. As a full-time teacher of the Course of Miracles, let me tell you, I appreciate what you allow the Holy Spirit to share with yourself and me. Thank you so much. I am so grateful to you. I really got a lot out of this class.
Me too.
And I feel like I realized a lot of things today that I need to realize. I hope the same is true for you. And if not, that's okay. You can keep trying. You will. A lot of the answers, you don't hear them when you first hear them. Sometimes it takes a while before you hear what you just heard. Sometimes it's later on this evening, all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, I hear that. So all I have to do is walk away with just one thought, and the thought I could walk away today that would get rid of the opposition to me being helped is, I hope I have been wrong. I want another way to look at this, because I don't like the way I feel. So what I want to do is take about 3 or 4 minutes to go over these steps, just the steps, until you get to the point that you could run. See, how could you tell when you're ready to actually be happy? You might make your first priority, especially if you have a Course in Miracles book, to just get these 5 steps so that you can say them. Especially the part that starts at least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. If you could just start there. Whenever you're upset about something, you bugged again, you get to the point that you go, at least I can decide I don't like what I feel now, and so I hope I'm wrong. I want another way to look at this. Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? At least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. So I hope I have been wrong. I want another way to look at this. Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? And so at the point that you're ready to get that part with me so that you can remember it, don't hesitate to join in. Because the only reason why I'm saying this right now is so that this will be practical application instead of another theoretical thing for me. Because it says I need to get this. I'm upset about something. At least I can decide I don't like what I feel now, and so I hope I have been wrong. I want another way to look at this. At least I can decide now that I don't like the way I feel, and so I hope I'm wrong. At least I can decide now. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. At least I can decide that I do not like what I feel now. At least I can decide
I do not like what I feel.
At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. So I want you to think about some area of your life right now where you don't like the way you feel. Okay, everybody got one?
Yeah.
Okay, you sure you got one?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
More than one.
At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. And if you want to make it more personal, you can go, at least I can decide I do not like what I feel now about this.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? At least I can decide that I do not like what I feel now about this. At least I can decide I don't, and I like to do contractions. At least I can decide I don't like the way I feel now. I don't like the way I feel now. So I try to get the Course, I try to take what the Course is saying and then put it in a conversational tone so it's more like conversation instead of a book. Like, at least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. And then I say it over and over again. I don't like what I feel now. I don't like what I'm feeling now. I don't like how I feel now. Then you just start doing variations of that same thought. I don't like how I feel now. I'm going to decide that I don't like how I feel right now. I don't like how I feel right now. I don't like how I feel right now about what's going on in this situation. I don't like what I feel right now about what's going on in this situation. And then you go, and so I hope I have been wrong. And so I hope I have been wrong. At least I can decide I don't like what I feel now. And so I hope I have been wrong. I hope I have been wrong. So what are the 2 key sentences? I do not like what I feel now. I hope I have been wrong. Let's say that. I do not like what I feel now. I hope I have been wrong. I do not like what I feel now. I hope I have been wrong. Okay? And then it says, at that point, you're letting go of all your resistance when you can get to that point. And so you say after that, I want another way to look at this. 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 I want another way to look at them. 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 At least I can decide I don't like the way I feel about them. And so I hope I'm wrong about them. I want another way to look at them. See, you throw a lot of thems in there, kind of rhymes, you know. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now about them. And so I hope I have been wrong about them. I want another way to look at them.
Huh.
See, you got to put a little rhythm, put a little juice in it, put a little jazz in there, put a little soul in there. Use that body as a medium of communication that'll help you. You know what I'm saying? Then the last sentence is what? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? You can do that robot. You can go, perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there is another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? See, did you hear me? Perhaps, that's the key word. Perhaps there is another way of looking at this. What can I lose by asking for another way to look at this? So here's the whole saying. Tell yourself what you want to happen to you, then tell yourself, today I will make no decisions by myself. Got that?
Yeah.
Then you make a decision about yourself, right? And you make up your own plan. Things not happening the way you want it to happen and you are upset. Then the chorus say, you say, I have no question, I forgot what to decide. I have no question, I forgot what to decide. I have no question, I forgot what to decide. I have no question, I forgot what to decide. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. Got that? Got it? One more time, I'm gonna say it for myself. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. And then you tell yourself, and so I hope I have been wrong. Take a breath. And so I hope I have been wrong. I hope I have been wrong. I hope I have been wrong. About that? I hope I have been wrong. About them? I hope I have been wrong. About this? I hope I have been wrong. About that? I hope I have been wrong. About this? I hope I have been wrong. About that? I hope I have been wrong. About them? I hope I have been wrong. About them? I hope I have been wrong. Woo! So since you hope you have been wrong, the next step you say, I want another way to look at this. 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 And the last thing you say, the last thing you say is, perhaps there is another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? What? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? What? What can I lose by asking? What? What can I lose by asking? What? What can I lose by asking? What can I lose by? So work it back, you go, I want another way to look at this. I hope I have been wrong. At least I can decide I do not like what I feel now. I forgot to decide of what. I have no question. if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. You will find that the Course in Miracles makes as much sense when you read it backwards as when you read it forward. We seek to make them habits now so that you will have these rules for whatever need. So now we need to practice them a while until they are the rules by which you live. They are not new to you, but they are more ideas than rules of thought. They are not new to you, but more ideas than rules of thought. And together will these steps lead you from dreams of judgment to forgiving dreams and out of pain and fear. Each step will help a little every time it's attempted. The speed by which it can be reached depends on this one thing alone, your willingness to practice every step. The goal is clear, but now you need specific methods for attaining it. The new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. I just read the paragraph backwards.
Wow.
Everything you heard was me reading it backwards. The Course makes as much sense going backwards as it does going forward. Holy Spirit is trying every freaking way possible to reach us. I'm going to give it to them backwards. I'm going to give it to them forwards. I'm going to give it to them every way possible so they find it. They might go, at least I can decide I don't like what I feel right now, and so I hope I have been wrong. I want another way to look at this. Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? I think your piece is worth 5 or 6 statements that are memorized.
Right.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming. Happy New Year. Woo! Thursday night, A Course of Love. Come back if you dare.